Welcome back to WiseGOLD, where we explore useful and fascinating knowledge tailored for those entering the golden years of life. I remember sitting on my porch one afternoon, enjoying the warm breeze, when my neighbor Joan walked over, looking particularly tired. She plopped down in the chair next to me and sighed. "I just don't know what to do anymore," she said, her voice heavy with frustration and exhaustion. Joan was in her mid-70s, and while she was retired and her health was reasonably good, her mind was constantly preoccupied with her two adult children. Though they had moved out years ago, Joan couldn't seem to stop herself from managing their lives, whether it was offering unsolicited advice about their careers, worrying about their finances, or even stepping in to solve their problems. Over the years, Joan had taken on the role of protector and fixer, and it was wearing her down. As she talked, I couldn't help but think about how common her struggle was. Many parents, like Joan, find it difficult to let go of their adult children. There's this fear that without their help, their kids won't make it. But what Joan didn't see, what so many parents don't see, is that holding on too tightly can do more harm than good. By constantly stepping in, Joan was preventing her children from growing into the independent, self-sufficient adults they were meant to be. The truth is, letting go isn't just about giving your children space to grow. It's also about allowing yourself to enjoy your golden years without the burden of constant worry and responsibility. It's a shift in mindset, a gift to both you and your children. But how do you actually go about letting go? Let's explore 9 ways that you can begin to let go of your adult children in old age, giving both you and them the freedom to thrive. 1. Recognize that your job as a parent has evolved. The first and perhaps most difficult step in letting go is recognizing that your role as a parent has changed. When your children were young, they needed you for everything: guidance, support, protection. But now that they are adults, they no longer need you to be their constant protector. Joan, for example, was still operating as if her children were 12 instead of 35. She believed that without her help, they would fail. But what Joan didn't realize was that by stepping in every time her children faced a challenge, she was robbing them of the opportunity to learn, grow, and stand on their own 2 feet. Letting go means shifting from being the fixer to being a supporter. Your job is no longer to solve their problems, but to offer emotional support when they seek it. Trust that you've raised them well, and that they can handle life's challenges without your constant intervention. Instead of calling your adult child every time you hear about a potential job opening, encourage them to seek out opportunities on their own. They'll feel empowered knowing you trust them to take control of their own future. 2. Set boundaries that protect your well-being. Many parents, especially those who are retired, have more free time than their adult children. This can lead to situations where parents expect frequent visits, phone calls, or involvement in their children's lives. However, it's important to remember that your children have their own lives, with their own responsibilities and schedules. Setting healthy boundaries is key to letting go. Let your children know that while you love them, you respect their independence and are learning to prioritize your own well-being as well. Joan used to call her children every day to check in. She realized that this constant communication was more for her comfort than theirs. After a tough conversation, they agreed to have weekly phone calls instead. This allowed Joan to focus on her hobbies and social life, rather than being consumed by her children's lives. 3. Trust their decision-making abilities. One of the hardest parts of letting go is accepting that your adult children may make decisions you don't agree with. And that's okay. You might not always understand their choices, but it's important to trust that they are capable of making their own decisions, even if those decisions come with mistakes. Joan had a hard time with this. When her daughter decided to quit her steady job to pursue a career in art, Joan was beside herself with worry. She couldn't see how this choice made sense and was certain it would lead to failure. However, by constantly questioning her daughter's decision, Joan was straining their relationship and undermining her daughter's confidence. In time, Joan realized that part of letting go meant accepting that her daughter's life path was her own to navigate. Trusting your children's ability to handle their lives, mistakes and all, is one of the most freeing gifts you can give them. Next time your child tells you about a major life decision, instead of offering advice immediately, take a step back and simply listen. Acknowledge their choice and trust that they are capable of handling whatever comes next. 4. Focus on your own health and happiness. Letting go of your adult children creates space for you to focus on your own well-being. Many parents, after years of dedicating their lives to their kids, forget to take care of themselves. Now is the time to reclaim that part of your life. Joan had always wanted to take a pottery class, but she had convinced herself that she was too busy looking after her children's lives. Once she started letting go, she signed up for the class and found that she had more energy and a sense of fulfillment that had been missing for years. Focusing on your health, both mental and physical, is crucial as you age. Pursue hobbies, travel, and connect with friends. Letting go of your adult children allows you to prioritize the things that make you happy without feeling guilty about it. If you've always wanted to take up gardening or join a book club, now is the time. Rediscovering your own passions can bring immense joy and purpose into your life. 5. Don't take responsibility for their mistakes. As parents, it's natural to want to protect your children from the consequences of their actions. However, continually shielding them from mistakes prevents them from learning valuable life lessons. Mistakes are part of growth, and allowing your children to experience them is essential. Joan's son, for example, had a habit of overspending and getting into financial trouble. Each time, Joan would step in to bail him out, but it never solved the underlying problem. It wasn't until Joan let him face the consequences of his actions that he finally started managing his finances responsibly. Letting your children handle the results of their decisions doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough to let them grow. If your child has made a poor financial decision, resist the urge to step in and fix it. Offer emotional support, but let them handle the practical consequences themselves. 6. Embrace the role of consultant, not manager. As your children become adults, your role in their lives should shift from being a manager to a consultant. In the past, you may have been involved in every aspect of their lives, but now you should be available for advice when asked, not as an active participant in every decision. Joan found this transition difficult. She had spent years making decisions for her kids, from what schools they attended to how they handled their finances. But as her children grew older, they began to resist her input, which led to tension. Joan had to learn to offer advice only when her children sought it. By embracing the role of consultant, you can offer wisdom and guidance without being overbearing. This allows your children to maintain their independence while still valuing your input. Instead of offering your opinion on every aspect of your child's life, wait until they come to you for advice. When they do, listen carefully and offer your thoughts without trying to control the outcome. 7. Learn to say no when necessary. Parents often feel obligated to help their children, even when it comes at the expense of their own well-being. Whether it's financial support, time, or emotional energy, continually giving without limits can be draining. Joan struggled with this when her son asked for money to cover yet another one of his expenses. In the past, she would have given it to him without hesitation, but she had started to realize that her constant financial support was enabling his poor habits. Learning to say no was difficult, but it ultimately helped her son learn to budget and live within his means. Setting limits with your children, especially when it comes to finances or emotional energy, is essential for maintaining your well-being. If your adult child asks for help that you're not comfortable providing, practice saying, "I love you, but I can't help with this right now." It's okay to set boundaries that protect your own health and happiness. 8. Strengthen your relationship with your spouse or yourself. For many parents, their identity becomes so tied to their role as a caregiver that they forget to nurture other important relationships in their lives. This can be particularly true for couples who, after years of focusing on their children, find themselves with an empty nest and a strained relationship. Joan realized that in focusing so much on her kids, she had neglected her relationship with her husband. Once she started letting go, she and her husband began spending more time together, rekindling the bond they had when they first married. If you're single, letting go of your children can open the door to focusing on yourself in new ways. Reconnect with your friends, pursue new hobbies, and build a life that is rich with fulfillment. Plan a trip or a date night with your spouse, or schedule regular outings with friends. Strengthening your relationships with others can help fill the gap that letting go of your children may create. 9. Seek support from others who understand. Letting go of your adult children is not an easy process, and it's okay to seek support when needed. Whether it's talking to a therapist, joining a support group for empty nesters, or simply sharing your feelings with close friends, seeking support can help you navigate the emotional challenges of this transition. Joan joined a local group for parents of adult children, and it made all the difference. Sharing her experiences with others who understood her struggle helped her gain perspective and feel less alone in the process. If you're finding it hard to let go, consider reaching out to a counselor or joining a group for parents of adult children. Talking about your feelings can make the process of letting go much easier. Letting go of your adult children is not about cutting them off or no longer caring. It's about giving them the space to grow into their own lives while reclaiming yours. By setting boundaries, trusting their decisions, and focusing on your own well-being, you can create a healthier, more balanced relationship with your children. Joan's story serves as a reminder that the best thing you can do for your adult children is to let them live their lives independently. In doing so, you give them the greatest gift of all, the freedom to learn, grow, and thrive. And as you step back, you'll find that letting go opens up new possibilities for your own life, whether it's pursuing passions, strengthening relationships, or simply enjoying the peace that comes from knowing you've done your job well. Letting go isn't easy, but it's a necessary step in both your journey and your children's. Embrace this new chapter with grace, knowing that by letting go, you're allowing everyone involved to flourish.